What's happening, BoobTube? So today is a really big day. Something came in that I was not expecting. I thought it was going to be something else, but it turns out that it ended up being the thing that I ordered originally. This is an aluminum flywheel from Racing Beat. So this is the non-turbo FC. Well, pretty much anything non-turbo flywheel. So, it's got a bunch of stuff that comes with it that I don't know why it comes with it. I need to break out the instructions and read the instructions and see what's going on here. So, I'm going to do that, and I'll report back on, I'm pretty sure this is all just stuff, ways to shim it and everything else. So, let me do that, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, so after inferring the instructions, blah blah blah, pretty much put a washer on everything. Certain washers only go on certain ones. You put a spacer between the pressure plate and the flywheel, between the linings, and there's two bolts that are aligning pins that they only fit in certain holes on the clutch pressure plate that will help you align it to the flywheel. So next is and you also torque them to 28 foot-pounds and 14 foot-pounds respectively. I don't have 14 foot-pounds. I don't have a torque wrench that goes that low, so it's going to be tight. So let's go ahead and throw the flywheel on the motor that is now upright. I had to call Racing Beat. So my motor came from a junkyard and it had this shim plate on the back of it. I think that's right here. I had to call them. They've never heard of anything like this before, so they weren't sure if it went between this and the flywheel or not. I'm pretty sure that this was what bolted on the back side of the flex plate to just kind of give it something a little bit stronger to hold on to. But where we're going, we don't need this. So let's drag this bad boy over and set it on the motor. Alright, so first thing you want to know, you never touch the surface of where the material is the clutch is gonna grab. You always want to keep that clean. Alright, that looks pretty centered. Grab me some bolts to start. Oops, I'm forgetting something very important. Anything that's on vibration, you always want to stick some Loctite on it. I don't like the red kind, I only like the blue kind. Red kind's a little overkill. If you require the red kind, you're no longer dealing with race cars. So let's see here. That's what this is. Alrighty. So I've got my that's gonna clear everything. This needs to be 48 pounds. That's 30, 40, no, 28 pounds. Oh dear God. That seems like almost nothing. There's 20. 8. All right, that's set. Let's put some Loctite on these Jews and send her home. These dudes. the proper way to Loctite, by the way, whether you have this stuff or not, is you only put it on one side of the bolt. You don't put it on both sides or down the length of the whole thing or anything like that. That's way more than you're supposed to have, because you have to think about it. You're going to thread it through. So at least that's how I do it, and I haven't ever had an issue. Some people might argue with that and say that that's wrong. So be it. I've been doing it wrong for a long time now. I've never had an issue. So. Also, if you don't have the glue stick kind, what are you doing with your life? This is the only way you should ever do Loctite or thread sealer or any of those anymore. This stuff is the bomb. Don't ever have to worry about it drying up or crusty on you or any of that stuff. Alright, so that's done. Now let's tighten these bad boys up. That's tight. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. Okay, cool. So next, this was supposed to be a unsprung 3-puck, but I got a sprung 6-puck, which should make it, I mean, it'll make it a little bit more drivable, but that kind of defeats the point of what I was shooting for. And you know what? I almost forgot. I can't go any further. I haven't put my pilot bearing in yet. I just realized that. Son of a bitch. So I gotta throw a bearing in the freezer, let that shrink down before I can continue and drive that bad boy in. So we shall return shortly. Alright, so I got the needle bearing, pilot bearing in to the flywheel, which all I gotta do is stick it in the freezer and then it just drives right on in really smooth. So that's on there real good. Now it's time to throw the clutch and everything on here. So this part I can pretty much do one-handed, so we will film all this. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna do another wipe down on the flywheel itself with brake clean, since I just probably touched it, even though I didn't. I don't think I touched it, but better safe than sorry. Actually, you can see where I probably touched it. Clean this bad boy off. You know the drill. A little bit of brake clean. Wipe her down until she's dry. Then it's money and ready to go. Ready to go. All right. So, grab the clutch plate. And then tomorrow I got to call Spec, because the throwout bearing they sent is like 1/2 inch shorter than a factory one, and this one's also plastic, and I don't like the fact that it's got plastic bits in it. So I'm gonna call and see if I have to use this one because the clutch changes the spacing, or if it's still factory spacing, then I can use a standard throwout bearing. But that's neither here nor there. So clutch alignment tool. Stick that bad boy down in there. Should be a tight alignment now that it's got the bearing and everything in there. And it pulled the seal out. That's annoying. I'm gonna have to do something about that seal. I don't feel like that's all the way in there, all the way. But I guess I could. I mean, it's in there far enough for the seal. If it needs to be driven in there further, I can get that in there. Well, shoot. Let me pull this back off and stick that seal in there the correct way. Yeah, so the bearing pushed in there great. This seal that I've got, not so much for some reason. Not sure why. But anywho, I mean, it's a snug fit, but it's not like a nice pressed tight fit in there like it should be. But yeah. Oh yeah, it goes all the way in. That's as far as it can go. That's for sure. So it's not like it's not getting everything that it should. Wonder if I might not be running a seal on this motor if it doesn't stay in there. Actually, I know what I can do. I can slide it onto the input shaft when I go to put the transmission in there, and that way it'll keep that all Gucci. All right, so that's all nice and straight. So next is the pressure plate itself, which we're going to do the same thing that we did with the flywheel. Give her a little spurts with some brake cleaner. Grab my, oh, that's not my clean paper towel. This is my clean paper towel. Clean it off. Give it a good wipe down. Easy money. All right. Take it, grab it by the fork thingies. Slide this bad boy on there. And now, gotta take my alignment bolts, which are these two black ones, and a couple of washers. Or not a couple washers, but the spacers. Slide these bad boys in. That way this thing is all lined up the way it should be. And then from here, it's just tightening everything down until it's tight. And of course, you do it in a crisscross pattern like you do everything else that you're trying to torque. So should be easy peasy. Make sure I've got, yep, those are 180 across from each other, and should be good to go. So now it's on to putting all the rest of the bolts in, and then on the back side there's you throw a washer and a nut on there, and then these are torqued down to 14 foot-pounds, which is going to be tight since I can't go that low. But let me throw all this on here, and then once we get all that done, we will come back and take a look at the finally fully assembled block. Alright, so it's been a few days. I had an issue with one of the bolts. I was torquing it down and it yielded and broke. So I had to hunt for some bolts just like these. And it turns out that Racing Beat special orders these bolts from, where did I stick them? Did I put them? Anyways, wherever I put them bolts, they're silver, or they're 8.8 grade bolts. Throw them over here. Did not. Oh yeah, here they are. So the silver ones, which are 8.8 metric rated, they're special order. So I found same thing on McMaster car, but they're 10.9, so they're technically stronger. And just ordered those because Racing Beat wants, I think, $35 for 6 bolts, and all I needed was one. So I ordered them from McMaster car, and I got 25 of them for like $6 or $7 or something like that. So did that. Put this all on here. Since my torque wrench doesn't go down to 14 foot-pounds, I just got them all pretty much the same tightness all the way around. I might bug up somebody that has a 3/8 torque wrench and do that, but for now it's solid and on the car. In the meantime, other things have made it to the garage, and yeah, so I'm gonna do a walk around on that in a later video, discussing and showing everything that's done to that thing that's makes it so special. But yeah, so this motor is done. It's ready to go in the car now. All it needs is the transmission slapped up against it, and yay. So I actually don't think I'm going to stick it in the car. I think the next thing the car is going to have done to it is I'm going to finish the transmission, whatever, the transmission tunnel, like bolt replacement thing, or not bolt replacement, but shield that's here that needs to be made. And then I'm going to get some dry ice and go through the interior and get all that stuck down insulation down, and then I'm going to send the car out to get a roll cage put in it. So that's going to be a pretty big expenditure, and we'll probably sit in the shop for a while, but that's neither here nor there. So that's it for this video, guys. Racing Beat lightweight flywheel. I think the thing weighs like 5 or 6 pounds. It's supposed to, with it and a clutch and the counterweight, it's all supposed to weigh like 10 pounds or 11 pounds together. So that tells you how light the whole rear assembly is. So this thing will, you touch the throttle and it'll almost be at red line. So it's going to be awesome to have. But yeah. So until next time, guys, happy wrapping.